In our top story this hour, the Economic Freedom Fighters leader Julius Malema has addressed thousands of party supporters at the Giant Stadium in Soshanguve, north of Pretoria. He's been speaking at the party's Manifesto launch under the theme Our Land and Our Jobs Now. Malema opened his keynote address by conveying the party's sentiments on the land question and youth unemployment.
The theme of this election is our land and jobs now. We cannot postpone the land question. We cannot postpone the jobs question. It must happen now. We don't want to be told that we'll get land in 2030. We don't want to be told that we'll get jobs in 2030. We want jobs now. We are hungry now. We want to eat now. That's why our message is very simple. More than 50% of young people are not working. You effectively mean young people are not working, all of them.
Mr. Malema also denounced President Cyril Ramaphosa's minimum wage of 3,500 rand and says his government will strive for even more than that.
Minimum wage ya Ramaphosa arinyaki. Rinyaka minimum wage, but not 3,500. Rinyaka chelete. The money must go in the pockets of our people. All mine workers, the entry level must be 12,500 for all the mine workers who are at an entry level. The farm workers, 5,000. Manufacturing workers, 6,500. Retail workers, 5,000. Builders will earn a salary of 7,000. Petrol attendants, 6,500. Cleaners, 4,500. Domestic workers, 5,000. Security guards, 7,500. Waiters and waitresses, 4,500. Comrades, that is just an entry level. And if you are in that field and well experienced, you have to be paid more than that.
Well, we're now joined in studio by leadership expert, that's Dr Mazwe Majola. Thank you for joining us, Doctor. Always a pleasure having you on the desk, especially on this really busy news day. Yes. You've just heard the launch of the EFF's election manifesto in Pretoria. Land and jobs, really the thrust of that robust delivery. And it looks to be a message that's really gaining traction with those at the rally. But can Mr Malema sustain this momentum going forward as we approach election day and beyond that even?
Well, yes, 166 pages manifesto. And indeed it has been expected that the issues or the themes that will emerge from this manifesto will be land, will be jobs, will be youth development, crime, corruption,
women
empowerment, and unity, although they've started not well really, because you can't be calling for unity when you start by singing national anthem, and then you encourage people to sing the national anthem without the distem. And that was very deplorable. That was very shameful and disgraceful for EFF. And this must be said. They must be told that that was very shameful, because this was divisive. It goes against the spirit of national unity and national or rather social cohesion. At some stage, if you remember, the former president Nelson Mandela, there was a time he attended an occasion or a function, and the national anthem was sang there, but it was not sang the whole full version of the national anthem. And he had to stop them. And he had to force them to re-sing the whole national anthem, because he wanted to show the whole country that South Africa is one country, and it has one national anthem. There are no different national anthems. So they started in the wrong foot there, really.
Let's talk about the manifesto itself. Do you feel, I just want to garner your thoughts on this one, do you feel at this point that it actually offers practical solutions to the triple challenge of poverty, unemployment, and racially skewed inequality that the EFF constantly goes on about?
You see, this is going to be a challenge for most of the parties that are contesting for the elections, because all of them, they are talking about the same issues. And because, of course, the country is faced by those issues. Land, jobs, economy, unemployment, poverty. Almost all of them, they will be telling people that will be do this and this. I've been arguing, and I'm still saying now, that the only party that will win the hearts and souls of electorates is that party that will set up what will be the differentiation factor. What will be that thing that will set apart, because they'll say that everything will be the same. But
in your mind, what is that thing?
The commitments or the promises or the plans or the goals must be based on what I call SMART goals. SMART represents from my side. They represent those goals or those commitments that S stands for significant, M stands for meaningful, A stands for action oriented, R stands for relevant, and T stands for traceable or trackable. What is so things, the commitment must be relevant. Malima is attacking ANC or Cyril Ramaphosa for the minimum wages that they will increase the minimum wage from 3,500 to 12,500. That is not feasible. That is not doable. I know they may argue and say that we can do it. So the goals must be relevant. They must be significant.
All right, let's talk about your acronym, Dr. Prof, when it comes to SMART, on the point of traceability.
Yes.
Okay, so what has the EFF achieved in the past 2 years? They managed to gain about just over a million votes.
In the past 5 years in the national.
They managed to gain just over 1 million votes in the 2014 national elections. Their membership has grown to just over 2 million, I think. They have managed to get the insourcing bill and the land expropriation bill at parliamentary level. So there has been some progress there.
Of course, they started well. They started well. If you trace it back into 2014 when they emerged, it was just a few months ahead of the national elections. And really, they didn't have much time to canvass and to campaign, but they managed to emerge with 6.4%, and they became the third largest party in the country after ANC, DA, and they became the third, and they managed to win, rather I think about 1 million voters there. So they've done well, even in the National Assembly. Of course, yes, they've introduced some unconventional and radical strategies, banging the tables, shouting. They've managed to make the National Assembly alive, in terms of debate. They've managed to bring the youthful energy and spirit.
Yes, I agree, but they often get kicked out of Parliament by the National Speaker. Will it not serve their constituency better and serve the electorate better if they stay in Parliament and follow protocol and follow rules and bring the interests of the people to the fore like they are designated to do so?
Of course, yes. As I'm saying that those are unconventional strategies they've brought into the National Assembly. Unfortunately, they've gone beyond board because they've been inordinate and stubborn at times, even when they've been asked, but they've been very forceful and strong in their point, and then to the point of being kicked out of the National Assembly. They may argue that we've done that to the point of we would not allow to sit there, because remember it was during the time of the former president of Jacob Zuma. They wouldn't like to sit there and listen to him.
Now, most of the EFF supporters are younger than 24 years of age, according to an ISPOS poll. That's about 49%, or nearly half of their supporter base, right? Now, we heard Mr. Malema a few minutes ago call for the legal voting age to be reduced to 16 years. So he's really cognizant of the fact that his message resonates with the youth in the country. But it does begin to feel, or one gets a sense that the EFF senior leadership has to work very hard now to dispel this notion out there, or public perception that they are just a youth movement.
Yes, out of the population of about 57.7, close to 58 population of South Africa, and then we are told that 51% is female. And 35% is young people, so youth. So what EFF is doing is really gunning for young people. That is their market. Indeed, even their language and their tone resonate with the young people, and they can relate to them. But indeed, they need to spread their message to broader community, because each and every vote counts when it comes to election. Each and every vote counts. Yes, indeed, we have been told that even in the last registration, the recent one, out of about 700,000 people registered, 81% are people under the age of 30. So you can see that young people really are the one that they want. They are going there. They want young people to vote for them.
Quickly, Prof, let's talk about the growth potential of the EFF. Like you mentioned earlier, they have grown to over 2 million members. But when it comes to South African voters, there's a pattern we see where South Africans are more likely to choose an established party than a very new one. And they are going up against the majority party, which is the African National Congress, which has a strong and proud tradition. It's a party that's over 100 years old. And still, many people remember it as being, it's a much loved party. Remember it as being the party that's credited with achieving political freedom and human rights for all.
They are contesting against a well-established party, ANC, but ANC, which is very fragile and crippled by the corruption and malfeasance and avarice that has been emerging from the commissions. However, they are contesting against the new president, Cyril Ramaphosa, who's coming not with a baggage like what happened to Zuma. So indeed, they'll have to work very hard, because ANC is a well-established, yet, yes, not untouchable, what you call party. They still have its own weaknesses. And EFF, if it can manage to capitalize on the weaknesses of the ANC, they will do better. But unfortunately, at the moment, they don't seem to be coming without a differentiation factor that says what will be different from us if you can vote for us.
Doc, economic emancipation, economic freedom resonates with all of us South Africans who have been disenfranchised in the past. Would it serve the EFF better at this juncture to adopt a more inclusive approach? And it's something that won't really harm them at the polls at this point.
Yes, I mean, in the manifesto, they're talking very good stuff. I mean, the land, they're talking about the land, they're talking about the economy, and they're trying to espouse the policy of Donald Trump, that Donald Trump, when he said America first, and then even in their manifesto you can hear them talking about South African first, that most of the products must be domesticated and services domesticated, and then they will nationalize the mines and the banks. Obviously we know the story about the land, so that they want to bring. Unfortunately, we live in a global village now. If you want to bring that policy, you must be very careful that indeed you've got to capitalize and to prioritize the locals, but taking to cognizance that we live in a global economy.
All right, just two more questions before I let you go, Prof. And Mr. Malema did mention the media in his address. They're calling on journalists in the country to really check and double check their facts before we broadcast or go to print. Now, we know that the EFF has not met SANEF over allegations that it intimidated journalists, some veteran female journalists at this. Look, all political parties don't want any negative coverage, but it sometimes does happen. But the EFF in particular has been particularly venomous when it comes to their approach to journalists. How dangerous is this hostile attitude toward the media at this juncture in our democracy?
It's very erroneous because the ascendancy of Malema to power was largely aided and abated by the media itself. You know, it's the media that made Malema who he is now. And unfortunately, Malema and the EFF, they seem not to want to be criticized. As soon as the media and analysts and other society criticize them, they have this self-defense, and they will work very hard to make sure that instead of accepting their weaknesses, and they will criticize back the media. Of course, yes, the utterances that has been coming from EFF against the media is not helpful whatsoever. They must know that, as I'm saying, that he is where he is now because of the media. He has been aided and abetted by the media.
All right, this is the most successful splinter party from the ANC that we've ever seen, and it is a sign of a robust, healthy democracy in play. But the EFF has found themselves coming under constant scrutiny and criticism, under fire for alleged anti-white and anti-Indian sentiments. How will this impact on the public consciousness, Doctor, and on the ballot, or on voters going out there for the EFF come this May?
And credit to them, as you are saying, credit to them. They are the most, the most successful sprinter group from ANC. I think they carefully studied the rise and fall of COPE, and they said, how are we going to make sure that we succeed? Until now, they've done very well. However, indeed, South Africans are longing, are eager for a one nation and a one country, a united country. They want a political party that will promote nation building and social cohesion, not a divisive country, not a racist country. They want, or rather a political party, they want to see, or rather the party that will win is the party that will show that factors or characteristics of nation building and social cohesion.
Dr. Majola, it's been an absolute pleasure having you with us on the SABC News Desk this afternoon. We do appreciate you making the time on a weekend at that.
Thank you.
Well, time now.